Heading into the third quarter of 2025, the world seems so chaotic. A lot of assets are currently going up and down significantly due to news around the world. However, currently there's a potential for all of this volatility to go away. Curious on how? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to Republic Labs YouTube channel. In this video, we'll talk about all the sentiments that are currently happening around the world, specifically macroeconomic sentiments and geopolitical sentiments. Also, we will talk about the current condition in the crypto market and how we can trade and invest going forward. So, let's get into it. Currently, the world seems so chaotic. This is because a lot of people are talking about the potential of World War III. This stems from conflict happening between Iran and Israel. This is because it has been happening since a lot of days and huge countries are currently joining on it. As you might have heard in the news, the US has joined the war by supporting Israel to attack Iran. As you can see here, the US has just struck 3 of Iran's nuclear sites. This is a clear indication that the US wants in on the war, as Iran took this personally. They then retaliated back by attacking a US military base in Qatar, which triggers new narrative that a World War III might happen soon. This is because if the US joins in on the war and the war continues, a lot of countries and BRICS that are enemies of the US, such as China, Russia, and North Korea, might also join in on the war. If this happens, then this will trigger a World War III, which a lot of people are currently talking about it. However, if we take a look at news portals such as BRIC News from Twitter, we can see that not many countries in the BRICS alliance that has responded significantly after the US attacks Iran. As you can see here, most countries in the BRICS alliance has just condemned the attack of US to Iran. The condemnation seems usual, as there's no significant action towards it. This significantly negates the potential of World War III, as there's no country currently planning to join the war. Currently, the financial market is going into volatile mode, which means a lot of assets are currently going up and down. This is due to worries around the global economy, which is highly dependent on oil. You see, a lot of countries, including the US, is highly dependent on oil, as oil itself accounts for 8% of the US GDP. This is not only relevant in the US, as most countries are also dependent on oil. You see, according to data from Investopedia, most countries are dependent on oil. Oil accounts for approximately 5% of most countries' GDP, and it also accounts for around 4% of the global GDP, which means the impact of oil is huge. With the war happening between Iran and Israel and the US, a lot of countries are worried. This is because Iran plays a huge role in oil global transaction. The retaliation in Qatar shows that Iran will not back down if Israel and the US do not back down, which is why currently Trump suggested a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. However, currently the government of Iran has not agreed to this until Israel stops their attacks on Iran. This seems as a huge confusion, as Trump was the one who ordered the attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, starting the war with Iran. However, if you don't understand this, all the confusion can be tied back to the plan of the US, as the US and Iran did not expect for Iran to retaliate that quick and attack its military base in Qatar. This is why currently, looking at the huge power that Iran has, Trump decided to just de-escalate. So why does he want to de-escalate? This is because of the Strait of Hormuz, which plays a huge role in oil transaction in the world. You see, if Iran goes into an all-out war, then the Strait of Hormuz might be closed. As you can see here currently, the Iran parliament is planning to close the Strait of Hormuz. If the strait is closed, then the price of oil might increase significantly around the world. This is because it is a gateway for most countries that are producing oil to transfer their oil into other countries. This will impact countries such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and other countries producing oil. Which is why if this area or route is closed, then scarcity might increase for oil and the price might follow. This is probably why Trump suggested a ceasefire. However, currently, Iran has not agreed to anything yet. The assumption that Trump is worried is correlated with the US GDP. Currently, the US GDP is not so strong, as the statement from Jerome Powell last week stated so. As you can see here from the press conference that Jerome Powell did earlier this week, it is stated that currently the US GDP is not so strong. While it is growing, it is not as expected or not as strong. Also, currently, the FOMC, or the Foreign Open Market Committee, which is a committee in the Fed, has made predictions of the GDP for the next couple of years. Currently, the growth prediction is not looking so positive. It is a decrease from previous prediction, which shows that the US GDP and the US economy is not that strong yet, which is why it made sense that Trump planned a ceasefire, so that their GDP contribution from oil does not decrease. So currently, the market is not really looking positive, which is why a lot of assets are going down, specifically risky assets. However, the ceasefire news has triggered a new positive outlook on the war. Another thing is that there are currently one statement from two Fed officials that is projected to be bullish. This is because they are projecting that a rate cut might happen in July. However, from the statements of Jerome Powell in the press conference earlier this week, this seems unlikely, which is why there are a lot of uncertainties in the market. In times like this, all we can say is that you need to look at the financial market with two perspectives. One from a risky asset perspective, and one from a safe haven asset perspective, as these are only the two categories in the financial market. So all you need to do now is just go long on safe haven assets and go short on riskier assets. As you can see here, currently the theory is proven to be correct, as oil and gold is currently going up and crypto and stocks are currently going down, which is why it might be a good idea to take this into perspective and implement it on your strategy. Well, that's all the information I have today. If you guys like contents like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you guys are notified when we next upload. Cheers, guys!